Welcome back. Hero MotoCorp has unveiled 3 concept vehicles and 3 production-ready vehicles at EICMA, which is a trade fair for motorcycles held annually in Milan. The production-ready vehicles include 2 internal combustion engine-based scooters. The Indian automaker has also announced that it will enter Europe with its electric vehicle brand Vida. I caught up with Niranjan Gupta and began by asking him about the company's strategy behind unveiling the models at the event.
Parikshit, thanks. The strategy remains the same, as you could see, the focus on premium and the focus on EV. And you could see that even the scooters that we've unveiled production ready, which is 125cc Zoom and 160cc Zoom, both are in a sense in the premium scooter category, and the motorcycle that we revealed also is in the premium category. And then of course the other ones were on the EV concept part. So pretty much a huge focus on premium and EV, and which is what we have always been saying. More and more of capital allocation towards that, more of resources towards that, and that's exactly what we have followed through, Parikshit.
Right. What would be the launch plan for these vehicles?
So the launch plan will let people know closer to the time. But all I can say is that in terms of the scooters, you will see them getting launched in the next calendar year itself, which is 2024. I mean, this calendar is by and large ended. So the next calendar year, you will see both the scooters coming to life. You could also see the motorcycle that we showed coming to life. The rest of the launches, rest of the timelines, we will let know closer to the time.
Right. The premium concept vehicle, the motorcycle that you've showcased, could you give us a sense of the capacity and the kind of premium vehicle this is?
Parikshit, so that again, it's not a launch that we did. So we've unveiled as a concept the 2.5 TR extent that we talked about and the features that we have talked about on the product. So when we actually formally launch, that's when we'll unveil all the detailed specs of this product. But I can assure you that this product will excite the enthusiasts and the bikers, just like our Karizma launch or our HDX 440 launch has.
Right. Niranjan, you have announced an export strategy for next year. There seems to be 3 key focus areas: UK, Spain and France. Will these be the immediate markets where you will begin exports to?
So on the strategy part of it, Parikshit, actually, we have done a bit of pivoting on the global business strategy, which I talked about, I think partially in my investor calls, is that 80% of our resources will go towards the top 10 markets. And the rest of the markets we will nurture and build efficiently. And any new market we will enter basis the size of the price or strategic considerations. So that's the revamped global business strategy that we are talking about. As part of that, obviously the route to enter Europe and UK was obviously through the EV route, and which is exactly what we talked about yesterday. And therefore the 3 countries, UK, France, and Spain. And of course, more will follow, but we will be approaching it one at a time. And the EV product that we showcased yesterday is fit for that market, given that the charging stations of 2-wheelers aren't that many in this Europe and this part of the world. And therefore, our product, which has removable battery, actually addresses that issue. And of course, we are going big on EV, as I spoke about, and therefore good to have this product launched beyond India as well.
Any export number that you could give us, any kind of potential numbers or growth that Hero MotoCorp is targeting in FY25 with its exports?
I wouldn't give out a number, Parikshit, but over a medium term, again, the point is that this is, in a sense, a white space for us and a growth opportunity, because currently only 5% of our revenues come from international markets as compared to overall 25% for the industry. So I think it will be fair to assume that medium to long term, our endeavor would be to get into our revenue shape 10 to 15% of our revenue as coming from international market, etc. I would not give our time frame right now. All I can say is that we move towards a more focused strategy where we are saying that we'll grow aggressively in the top 10 markets. There we will grow aggressively and the rest we will build, and which is where most of the resources will go in.
Right. So these top 10 markets would be in Europe and LATAM?
The top 10 markets, by and large, would be some of them would be in LATAM, some would be in South Asia as well. And some could be in Southeast Asia. Like we already announced that we'll be entering Philippines. So therefore, it's a mix of those markets where we'll focus on. And of course, the developed markets will be primarily it's through the EV route, which is what we are taking. But as we build the premium portfolio, the high performance motorcycles, and once we build the base through EV route in these developed markets, the premium motorcycle, the high performance motorcycles can follow later. So that would be the strategy moving forward.
Right. And no immediate plan to export the Harley Davidson?
No immediate plans to export the Harley Davidson. Yeah.
All right. I would also like to ask you about the festive period so far. How has the Navratri to Dussehra period been for you? What kind of sales do you expect till Diwali? I know you're sitting in Milan, in beautiful Milan, but just to ask you about the festive season back home, because you must be keeping a hawk's eye on that as well.
Oh, absolutely, Parikshit. And you remember the interview that we had prior to the start of the festive, and I was talking about that we do expect industry to grow double digits, and we are confident that we could do even more given the portfolio that we have and the launches that we have done. Happy to report that so far our growth has been around 15% plus retail growth year-on-year basis, and therefore this festive is turning out to be really good for industry as well as for us.
Right. Could you give us a sense on how you expect to finish off the festive season?
I would like to forecast. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and we are confident that the finishing should be better than the start.
And finally, revenue growth of 4.1% in Q2, EBITDA margins at 14.1% growth. How do you see this in Q3? How do you see growth here onwards? Any challenges that you foresee?
So Parikshit, we, as usual, we don't give out the margin guidance. All I can say is that the margins which had during COVID era had fallen to around 11.5%. The entire margin repair job has been done. So effectively now we are sitting in a good place where we can deploy even more capital behind our growth priorities. So that's what the P&L will be used for. And obviously, when we use that for growth priorities, then that should fuel growth more than what we have grown in the recent past. So that's all I can say as far as our capital allocation and our expectation on the growth.
All right. So 15% growth in retail sales this festive season. Repair work on the margin front is over, and now it's time to invest in future growth and expansion. That's the word coming in from Hero MotoCorp. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.